What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy King Zulu here on the Motion Network talking to you about politics. And I've been excited since, yesterday because I wanted to talk to you guys about yesterday's big news, and it's going to be like this month's big news. That's right, the impeachment of your very own president, Mr. Donald Trump. That's right. Finally, the House has gone ahead and released the impeachment inquiry into Mr. Donald Trump, your president and fearless leader. What does that mean? Well, he then messed up so much now that he's got to go through it. He's got to go through it. So, throughout history, there have been about 3 impeachments in the United States history. There's been most famous, Bill Clinton, even though he beat his case for impeachment. Richard Nixon with the Watergate scandal. And way back in the day, President Andrew Jackson also went under articles of impeachment. So this one here would be it's kind of weird because before, he's always been under investigation from the House and the Senate by these 6 committees that are going ahead and compiling these articles of impeachment. So that leads me to believe that it's going to actually be done a lot quicker than most. Most of the time they take about 2 to 3 months to complete. First, the House has to invest. There are 6 committees that has to investigate everything that's going on, everything that's accused of him. Then he's tried by the Senate, and then if he's found guilty of his charges and accusations, then he is removed from office. So, the man's he's got less than a year left in office. The elections are coming up. We've been talking about that for the past few weeks and past month. So that would ultimately, hopefully, get him out of office, anyway, but it might be sooner than we think. So again, it usually is a 2 to 3 month time frame. Senate was supposed to go in recess, which means take a break. If y'all don't know, just take a quick break for a couple weeks, gather their thoughts, get themselves together, come back, and then do their thing. But I don't know if they're going to do that with everything going on. So start from the top. So we knew before, or some of you may have not known, Trump has been accused of collusion with Russia. And that was his first accusation as far as helping him and assisting him in the last election where he was elected president. How he was elected president was baffling to me. Like I said before, I think my first video, I was sitting there with my partner watching the election, watching it all unfold. And we were just speechless. This man literally actually won the presidency of the United States. Now, we can argue all day about how he won and how he, won the people's votes and all this stuff. The man didn't win the popular vote. So, but that's another video. That's another story. So, going back to that, he supposedly beat that case, the collusion report or whatever. He wasn't found on collusion. He wasn't found, messing with the Russian people like he really does. But that's another story too. But anyway, he is charged of coercing the Ukrainian government to investigate former Vice President and Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden. To investigate Joe Biden and his son. Basically, when Joe Biden was the vice president, he kind of forced his hand with the Ukrainian government to fire a top executive that his son was a part of. That doesn't have anything to do with tampering with the election. That's a big offense, and that is a part of national security that we cannot have in this country. So basically, there's a whistleblower out there, or a guy or gal, we don't even know who this whistleblower is. Basically, they overheard a phone conversation with the foreign leader from Ukraine and President Donald Trump, and it had something to do with him withholding $250 million in military aid because they have a war going on with Russia in the Ukraine right now, if you didn't know. And the U.S. is supposed to help out in some way. So $250 million is on the line. And basically, Donald Trump is dangling that over the Ukrainian government's head, saying, hey, you ain't going to get this unless you investigate Joe Biden and his son and basically knock him out the race, because Donald Trump feels like that Joe Biden is his biggest competitor for some reason. So I don't know, but you can look into that yourself on how you think Joe Biden might be his biggest competitor. But I don't think so. I think if we vote right, and I think if we actually do our research, Joe Biden won't even have a fight in this next presidential election. But that's just me. So yeah, that's what's going on. So what we're waiting on now, basically, is all the reports to come together. So it's basically like just like any other criminal trial if you were just a regular person. And I think it's going to be big, like how Bill Clinton's was when he messed up and got some head in the Oval Office and, said he didn't mess with that lady, and he did, but then he got acquitted of it. So if Trump gets acquitted of the charges, which I don't think he will based on this report and what they're saying, and this whistleblower complaint is supposed to come out sometime tomorrow, sometime later this week, so keep an eye out for that, and I might talk about that next week. But yeah, towards the end of this year, they're looking at getting old boy up out of there. So yeah, very interesting stuff. If you have any questions or anything that I missed or anything that you think might be interesting in next week's episode, feel free to leave it in the comments. And as always, like, share, and subscribe to Moment of Truth Network. We got some big things going on. Just a side note, we got some really big things that we're planning that's going on towards the end of the year. We'd really like your support. We will release some information and some details about it here shortly. And as always, thank you. We love you. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram coming soon. And be sure to check out my bro's videos. We got some good stuff going on. But yeah, stay tuned. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about the impeachment and what it means to us. Right now, it's just the basics right now. That's all I got. Peace and love to everybody. I just stole ghost stuff. Peace and love. I ain't got the tattoos, but yeah, whatever. Peace and love.